And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For tonight's podcast episode, I have my friend Creighton with me. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. This is a new version of a South Mississippian Dr. Oz show. No, I'm kidding.
And today we are actually going to be doing how to deal with a creative person and how to handle them when you're dating them. So, without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into it. So, as far as relationships go, as far as things go, dating someone with a creative mind, it takes a lot of. Here's the thing: you have to deal with them with respect, patience, and understanding. And if for me, for someone that can't really explain, to really go ahead and tell someone how I actually feel and try to explain that and everything, it's very awkward. It's very awkward indeed and stuff like that. What about you?
Well, yeah, and I think that everybody who's watching this needs to know when we speak about creative people, we're talking about like actors, actresses, musicians, writers, painters, anybody that is a entertainer, you know. Um, so that's kind of like what we mean by creative. But I totally 100% agree with you, John. Patience is the key because, oh my gosh, we, it's like, I wrote a Facebook thing and it's very true. Most creative people, it's like having a gerbil let loose in your mind and it's just firing ideas left and right, and it's just going 90 to nothing, right? And if you're in a relationship with a creative person and they really, really like you, you're in for an earful.
Because pretty much it's right there on our faces if we're into you or not. That's another thing though too. But also too, we can also be very complex in how we actually tell somebody how we actually feel. Because, it's one thing to go in our heads, we can actually tell somebody how we feel, but coming out verbally with it on how we actually tell somebody how we feel about that person comes out totally lopsided to the point where it's like, okay, where did that come from? I did not want to talk about Skittles. I wanted to talk about how much I care about this person, but it comes out awkward. It comes out lanky. It doesn't feel right. Or anything like that, because in our heads we have it planned out on how we want to actually talk and everything, and it just comes out all gibberish to the point where the person doesn't understand where we're coming from. But also too, we are very awkward people whenever we're dealing with our own understanding as well. Because I like the analogy that you used, for example, when about the Christmas party setting.
Yeah.
Because that that comes from me in a sense because of what I went through.
Right.
Let's see. Brandy asked, does writing your own poetry count?
Running your own what?
Poetry.
Oh, sure. I mean, look at Edgar Allan Poe.
Definitely.
I mean, he wrote The Telltale Heart, and I'm pretty sure he was awkward at social gatherings. I mean, Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, so yeah, poetry is they are essentially writers.
Exactly.
And which that brings me to a thing where, like with creative people, there's two different types. There's like, well, let's say there's type A and type B. Like, okay. And then it's basically introvert and extrovert. Now, what I mean is introvert is your quiet thinker. The one that is quiet, I don't like talking to the masses of people. And then you have the extrovert, people like me. You stick me in a room full of 1,000 people, it's like I go nuts. I'm just like, I just go interact and be telling jokes and but then there's some people that's in that gray area. They they know how to act the part, but deep down they want to go home. They're like,
Right.
I do not want to be here, but I
And
know how to play it.
right, and that's like me. I was an introvert at one time,
Mhm.
where basically at a Christmas party for work and everything. Yes, it was at work, and yes, I felt awkward because normally we try to stick to where people that we know, so that way we can have a
Mhm.
conversation, so we don't actually stick out as an awkward person. But here's the thing: I don't know anything about my coworkers, most of
Right.
all.
Yeah.
So I was sitting next to the IT guy and everything. I'm like, what do I have in common with him other than the fact that we both like computers, electronics, and stuff like that? What if I say something stupid? The whole entire analogies of things that I was thinking in my head
Mhm.
of things, even though I'm not, here's the thing, no one's forcing me to talk to anybody or anything
Right.
like that. But to show some politeness, to show some kindness and everything, I'm going through the exaggerations in my head with my
Mhm.
anxiety. So what I would do is I would just go on ahead, take a piece of cake or whatever that they're having. I would get up, go to my bosses in our office, and eat there, and
Yep.
that would be it. Now, on the other hand, with me having the podcast and stuff like that, I'm a lot more outspoken and everything.
Right.
So that part of me of being an introvert has actually helped me. There is some other areas that I do wind
Sure.
up becoming in that gray area where I need to improve in as far as the awkwardness goes and stuff like that. But I'm not
Right.
like the awkward person where I have to feel like Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory and go into the
Yeah.
office and eat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, uh,
uh,
another thing too about creative people when we're in a relationship, you know, and I think that because I don't want to offend somebody who's creative watching this, but I'm trying to hit a narrow spectrum of it. We the one key thing, the key essential thing is communication.
mhm.
You know, like for example, with creative people, we're spontaneous, but not like, hey, I'm so spontaneous. Let's drive out to Los Angeles and live out in the streets like
Or let's jump on this
yeah,
car that's about to come
yeah,
come towards me.
we're not that spontaneous, but we're spontaneous with our thoughts. Like if we get a great idea that we think would be a form of entertainment, whether it's writing or making a movie or writing something, an article up, what do you think we're going to do, John?
We're gonna stay at it. We're gonna keep writing. We're gonna, before we know, we don't even realize what we get lost in our own words,
We get
basically.
lost in it. Yeah, we get lost in our own little world. And that's why we have to have whoever you're with has got to be a good communicator with you. And it's like, I see that John has been writing for over 2 hours. I think I need to tell him to eat.
Right, exactly.
Just come over and be like, stop, for a minute. What?
I want
I
to
just
feed
got,
you. Right.
you know, but that's what, uh, you know, with a creative person, the key thing is you have to communicate and not dominate. There's a difference between
Right.
communicate and dominate.
And we'll get to that in a minute, though,
Yeah.
too. Brandy also said this, too. She said, I find that creative people can be intense. And she also said, I know I am intense and extremely expressive.
Right.
Uh,
We can be.
mhm.
Oh, God. And other creative people that I know, that's now, and I can speak on not on behalf of people, but from what I've seen with other actors and actresses. You know how, like, you see the big Hollywood people, actors and actresses, they have these meltdowns
Yeah.
and then they record it, you know, and
Right.
it leaks out when, and of course, you got the reporters and stuff that says, that was set up, it was a publicity stuff. But people who work in the industry is kind of like, I don't know. They they can be rather intense, you know.
Right. And also too very sensitive
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah,
Like if you target them the wrong way, they take the like they don't mean to do it or anything like
yeah.
that. But when you target a certain area and
Hmm.
everything, it feels like you're being attacked when you're
Yeah,
not really being attacked.
right.
They're just giving an opinion or some criticism and everything,
Hmm.
and you actually just have to slow down and say and ask yourself this: is this person trying to help me, or is this person actually trying to help me? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so you actually have to be your own judge because you know you better
hmm,
than anybody else.
yeah.
To be honest with you,
And yeah, and see, and which I want to add, like people who are in the public eye, right? Like me and you, John, we know how to take criticism, constructive criticism, right,
right,
from the public and things like that. That's you got to have a tough skin.
right,
But when you're in a relationship with somebody and they want to give you constructive criticism, they kind of got to tread lightly. They got to know how to handle you. You know, it's like, look, I don't mean to insult you. And it's like, don't you get mad at me. Well, I'm not trying to be mean, you know. And it's like,
right.
oh, okay, you know, because you can admit, you can admit it publicly. I'm doing it, so you can.
Me too.
But we can get sensitive when we're in a relationship with the criticism in a
Right.
one on one. You know,
And we also become very defense. We could be our default mode
yeah,
is defense mode because we want to
yeah,
protect ourselves.
hmm,
So to come at us, say, "Hey, look, I want to help you to benefit from something, and I don't want to attack you," is actually the right type of wording that you can actually do to
yep,
us, so that way our walls are actually not having to be up, and you
hmm,
can actually talk to us
right,
and everything. Because if you come at us like right away out of the blue, we're like, okay, where the hell did that come from?
well,
you
yeah,
know,
it's like,
but another thing though too that I want to mention is this: I'll probably never date an actress or anything like that for the simple matter of the fact that you know the auditioning, then also too on top of everything else too
mhm, yeah,
that they have to do. That's just a busy lifestyle. That's
it
just
is.
something that I do not want. Here's the thing: I don't. It's like okay, I don't mind you auditioning, but I also want some time for you and I kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know,
I'd like to see you every once in a while, you
right?
know.
Not like two
Yeah.
ships passing by. You know what I mean? So that's another thing though too.
Hmm.
Like I can't see myself doing that.
Yeah.
And to me, doing what I'm doing and then balancing out a regular relationship is exactly what I need and
Right.
everything versus the other direction. Because here's the thing: you can get wrapped up in your own mind saying, you know what? It may not be such a bad idea to date an actress or an actor or anything like
Right.
that because we have similarities. We have certain things that we can actually go do.
Hmm.
Then you come to the realization if you're when you're with that person, you're like, okay, this is not what I thought it was gonna be.
Right.
Because I'm
Because,
spending more
yeah,
time eating alone than I am being with someone.
with
So
someone. Yeah. And that's the crazy lifestyle. It is. I mean, because, like, and you can look at the A-list celebrities. They've went years without having a job. Well, like an acting job, and then that one, whatever aligns in the stars and whatever, whatever magic, Hollywood magic that is. I don't know. But they get that one role and then their career takes off, and then they're on the busy schedule. It's like, that's why you see a lot of celebrity marriages just because they don't see each other. They're
yeah,
married, but it's like they see each other probably, if they're lucky, 5 days out of the month, if they're lucky. And that's just because they got an off day from filming, and it's just a real insane, crazy type of scheduling. Um, and it can be tough. It can be very, very tough. On another level with actors and actresses because they get rejected so much because when you're an actor or an actress, you have studios and people like myself that's
Hmm.
like, no, you're not right for this part. We're not looking for somebody with brown hair. We're looking for somebody with blonde hair. You know what I mean? You have to get ready for the rejection from a studio.
Right.
But when you get that job and you're like, yay, I got a role, I can work. Well, you've been waiting 2 months. You're not going to screw it up, to get your thing going.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And if that means, sorry, like, sorry, babe, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks out of, I got to film this. I'm sorry. It's part of the
Right.
game with it. And it's
Right.
tough. And it takes somebody who is used to the person that gets up in the morning, works a 9 to 5 job, right? It's not a 9 to 5 job.
No, it's the filming industry is something that takes like hours, not even a 40-hour job if you think about it. It
Mm-hmm.
goes way past your average 40 hours.
Mm-hmm.
To, and not only that, but even you might not even be doing acting, for example. You might actually be just waiting
Yeah.
out in your trailer the whole entire time until 1 o'clock in the morning to film something
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and everything. And so it's like, what do I do with that time and everything
Yeah.
too? But you also have to find somebody too that will actually have a balance
Mm-hmm.
to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna let you chase your passions. I'm gonna let you go ahead and do this and everything. I know this is all pretend anyways and stuff like that. I trust you,
Right.
and I'm also gonna have you let you have some leeway. And I know you're gonna be coming back to me, but I need you to come back to me and spend some time with me at the same time. You need to actually have someone like that. If you're just an average Joe who doesn't really
Yeah.
understand the film industry or anything like that, and you're wanting that full on attention, you're not going to get it
Mm-mm. Yeah.
because you're just not going to get it. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I understand how the film industry is, but if you ever date somebody and then you think, hey, this is actually pretty cool. I'm actually dating an actress. And then all of a sudden it changes and it turns into something that you never thought would be that.
Mm-hmm.
It turns into the opposite effect of the
Yeah.
fact that she's gone most of the time. She's
Yeah.
not there. She's not I'm going through a rough patch. She's not there
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or anything like that. You're looking for somebody that can actually connect with, to actually hold
Yeah.
you on that emotional level. But if that person's not there and that person's filming and doing
Mm-hmm.
everything else, it's hard to lean on somebody at that time.
It is.
So really, if you're just an average person, it's not going to work out. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have patience, understanding, and trust
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to that.
And another aspect of it is like creative people. And this goes for that group of wonderful, talented, creative people, you know, is the publicity that comes along with it. You know how they say there's fame and fortune in Hollywood?
Right.
Well, when you're outside of Hollywood, you get fame, but you've got to, if you're with somebody who has some fame, the person who's got the fame knows how to handle it. But if you're involved with that person, it might be a bit of a shocker for you. I mean, it might be like, just because, whoever, like if I had a girlfriend, right, and me and her are going to Walmart to go just get socks and underwear, and then somebody comes up to me and to ask for an autograph, for like how many chances, I would sign it, and then they may look at her and say, "Oh, you're with him," and she might take that as an insult,
So,
or
right.
you know what I mean. So whoever you're with, they have to be
Open
prepared
mind.
for publicity, for a not attacks, because most people don't do that crap. They just want to see you and say hello and tell you, oh, I love your stuff, or you know your
Right.
stuff it was crap, you know, or it was boring, you know, or but they got to learn how to just go with the flow and just,
And
you
just accept
know,
it.
yeah,
Right.
just accept it. It's like, you know what? That's their choice. I just gotta put on the little blinders and get what I
Exactly.
came in the store to get, you know.
Exactly. Let that be just part of your day kind of situation
Hmm.
and then just move on from it. Because if you
Yeah.
let it sit there and settle in and just let it marinate and everything, it's just going to make you go even crazier with your anxiety
Yeah.
and everything
Hmm.
too. Because our anxieties can actually play games with us to the point
Yeah.
where, you know, it can make you think thoughts that you that we
Yeah.
didn't even mean to think.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if some random person just goes on ahead and says, "Oh, you're with that person," and everything, that might just be a shocker that you're with someone
Right.
and didn't expect you to be with someone. That does not
Yeah.
necessarily mean that that person was not right for that person. It just means
It's just,
specifically,
yeah.
they don't know what else to say, so they think of the first thing that pops up in their mind. If you think about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got my autograph now. I said hi. Now what do I do after that?
Right.
So, it's one of those things where like I don't know what to say after. What do I do? And so, like, okay, I'm just gonna say this, and then I'm gonna walk away. So,
Right. And you know, and like for the creative people who are watching this and they're like, okay, well, I just got into a relationship, but you know, the person I'm with has no idea how to do this or know how to handle this. My advice is if somebody comes up to you and asks for an autograph and the person you're with is not a people person, is more of a, you know, quiet, just ask them to, you know, stay near you and just put their arm around you or just hold your, you know, or say, get the person, whoever you're with, to say, you know, it's like, you want to take a selfie or, you know, look at your whoever you're with and be like, would you mind grabbing their phone and taking a picture of us, you know, or whatever, or all three of us, or something to that effect, you know,
right,
because it doesn't make who you are in a relationship feel excluded.
right. It makes it feel like they're included in this with you,
Yeah,
to where
and
they can support you.
yeah, and you don't want to be like, you know, just like, sure, let's take a selfie, and you know, you want to get the person you're with involved with you, because why else would they be seeing you? You know, or why else
Right,
would they be? There's something there, but I don't know. That's between you and whoever. But it's just try not to, the creative people who are watching this, try not to make your partner feel like what you're doing is such a foreign world. Like, you know, try to bring them into your world, but away from the danger of it.
right. Another thing too is make them feel a part of your work. Let them look at
Hmm.
some of your work.
Yeah.
Open to criticism, but also
Yeah.
to be open to criticism, but also to do your own thing though too,
Yeah.
and adjust your screenplay or do adjust your music to according to how you want to do it, not according to how the other
Hmm.
person wants to do it.
Hmm.
But always consider their advice though is my advice to that to someone that's creative as
Hmm.
well, because that's what I do with this as well with this podcast, because my
Yeah.
podcast is my art. I may not draw,
Yeah.
but my voice is
Is
my
your
art,
art.
my
That's
stuff.
right.
Right. So, you know, the way I see it is
And
this, I get advice from people all the time. I take
sure.
some advice, and then after that, I built my advice on top of what I think is great for the format, and then I
Mhm.
adjust the advice the way that I need to and tweak it the way I need.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, and I agree with what you just said, but there's one thing that we haven't touched on
Okay.
that, you know, if you're somebody who is not a creative person and you're on the other side, you know, you're like, hey, you know, I'm watching this because I don't know how to handle, this creative person. Let whoever you're involved with, whoever's creative, let them daydream. I cannot stress that enough because being creative and daydreaming, that's where these imagination, that's where, like Disney, imagination is alive,
Right.
it's that's where to encourage daydreaming. But you also got to be like, I ain't gonna let you sit around for 2 hours daydreaming.
Right. There's a shut off switch
Yeah,
somewhere.
you gotta stop it at a moment, but you gotta know that's part of a creative mind. I mean, think of Stephen King for a minute. What if he didn't daydream? Think of all the movies and books we wouldn't have been able to watch.
True. And also,
So,
too, another thing though too is I feel like this, and it goes back to the daydreaming thing and stuff like that. Whenever I'm working, that squirrel in the cage, I'm always constantly thinking of ideas for the show. I'm always constantly thinking of other ideas that can actually enhance the channel. I'm always about the channel and everything too, to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to write this down and stuff like that. I find myself daydreaming quite a bit on certain things and certain aspects of
yeah.
how I want it to go down and how I want people to receive it and everything too, and hoping that people will actually enjoy it and everything, because I have a good time of actually just creating stuff in my mind. But here's another thing though too: the way that it's created in your mind doesn't always project well whenever you're actually about to do something. Because prime
Yeah.
example and everything, I did maybe 6 takes on the recording side of just the audio podcast one time,
Yeah.
and I was like, nope. This is not being projected right. I'm gonna have to come back to this later. After my
Yeah.
6th time, I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore.
Right.
But you know, here's the thing. I feel like having someone in your corner to be able to back you, to
Yeah.
be able to give you some creativeness and help you along the way is a great thing to have. A
It
relationship
is.
is 100-100. It is not
Yeah.
50-50.
Mhm.
You're going to back your partner just like how they back you.
Yep.
And I promise you, they're going to end up respecting you for it. Whether or not you agree with some of the things that they do or anything like that, they will at least respect your opinion and everything
Yep.
too.
Hmm. That's right. And it's like what you said earlier. Patience. You gotta have the patience of Job in the Bible. Yeah, I mean with creative people. You do. I mean, but once you figure out how to dance the dance with the creative, okay? Once, and I'm speaking not to creative people, to your people that are involved with creative people. Once you figure out the tune, the beat of their drum, you're able to process it and you're able to harness, if you will, things to where that's going to be best for both of you. Um,
Exactly.
and like, it reminds me of an old Southern saying, peeling an onion, there's a lot of layers.
Right. You just have to go through each layer and try to
Mm-hmm.
be patient with that layer.
Yeah.
Another thing though too is like if you go on ahead and just hit us with something out of the blue and don't even say, hey, look, I need to talk to you about something. And then all of a sudden you just go straight into it. It's like, it'll be like total shock. It's like, oh, we just
Yeah.
freeze up because we don't know where that part comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, I don't know where that came from and everything. I thought everything was fine. If all of a sudden you just go on ahead and
Yeah.
just lash out, we're gonna get angry too because you're lashing out at us. Before you know
Mm-hmm.
it, it's a shouting match and
Yeah.
everything. But if you're just going ahead and talk to us and say, hey, look, I'm needing your attention for a minute. We need to talk.
Yeah.
We'll be patient. We'll be understanding with you because
Mm-hmm.
you're patient and understanding towards us too, because you actually
Yeah.
understand us or trying to get to understand us.
Mm-hmm. And with actors and actresses and directors and stuff, it really, really goes. with this saying. You attract more. What's that thing with? You attract more with honey
The vinegar.
than vinegar. You know,
Yeah.
that's the best thing for people that are watching this that are not creative and they're like, how do I handle, this person I'm with? Come at them sweet, okay, at a sweet approach. That don't mean if they did something wrong, yeah, they deserve it, but
Right.
but don't, like John was, like you was just saying, John, don't do what you would typically do with a person, like, boom, let me drop the bomb on you or something like that. I mean, you gotta,
Exactly.
and
Yeah, you
it's
got to
gonna,
pace yourself.
yeah, and it's gonna make it, because if you do that, if you're just like, you know, because look, we're sensitive. I mean, I hate to say it, but we really are. We are sensitive creatures deep down. Now what I mean by sensitive, okay, so let's take this fiction here. All right, John.
Okay.
All right, so let's say there's a guy and his name is Billy. Well, Billy is a normal dude that works 9 to 5, and his girl that he's serious with says, "Okay, I'm going to come over to your house, and I'll be there Christmas morning." Right?
Right.
Christmas morning, nothing. Christmas afternoon, nothing. Christmas evening, nothing. Well, what do you think Billy? What do you think he's going to be doing when he finally talks to her?
He's gonna wind up being ticked off
Yeah, most
and
guys.
hurt. And hurt.
Yeah, he's going to be hurt, but he's going to do that alpha guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the,
Right.
and what the, he's going to go off. Like, you do an actor or an actress, we're going to say that, but it goes deep, like into our heart. It goes deep into our soul. We will remember that crap for years,
Right. There's no getting it out.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to hold a grudge, but we're going to be like, you know, 5 years down the way. So, you remember that one Christmas when you did that? It still hurt my feelings.
Right.
Like,
But
cover it. And it's like, well, we can't. It's just we're sensitive humans,
right.
Because look at our job. We try to
Right.
take things and we try to make believe real,
Exactly. We're trying to make something that's not supposed to be real into something real
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But it cuts us skin deep if you actually think about it, into our hearts, like you mentioned. And there's some scar tissue that's still there
Right.
from that. It comes with a lot of healing, though, throughout
Yeah.
time and everything, So, there's that.
Yeah.
It takes us longer to recover from something than a normal, actual, everyday Joe off the street.
Yeah. You're
And
right.
everything, too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's why, like, if you look at these, the A-list celebrities and things like that, when they do a breakup, and especially if it's public, you don't hear about them for a long time. I mean,
Right.
and what me and you just said, I'm trying to give some psychological insight to the people who are not creative, so they can understand our method
Our
of
perspective.
our method of madness.
But just remember this, like with walking on eggshells and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're aggressive or anything like that.
No.
It's just that there's a right way and the wrong way to do everything. You just have to understand what the right way is and everything. And like I said, if you go ahead and out of the blue present us with something that we're not expecting, we can actually fly off the handles without even realizing that we're going to fly off the handles.
Yeah.
But you just have to understand us and give us some patience and everything, and we'll be good to go. Another thing, though, too, you mentioned the fact with sensitive. It's not sensitive to the fact that we cry at every sunset on a beach,
Right.
like Brendan Fraser on Bedazzled. It just means,
right. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it's just the fact that, you know, we're sensitive to your feelings and we're also sensitive to our feelings though too.
Mhm.
And when we're sensitive to your feelings, it's just as deep as it is for us
Yeah, that's right.
because we care on a deeper level. We
Yeah.
care within your whole heart and soul. Just like
Mhm.
how somebody would hurt us and everything, it'll hurt us skin deep, way deep into our souls.
Mhm.
If we care about you, we care about you and we show that we
Yeah.
care about you. That's the thing. Because we care skin deep and we care deeply for that person
Mhm.
and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that is God, that was like a poet, you know? I mean, what you just said, that was great. I mean, I don't think I can follow that up. That's great.
but yeah, I mean, if you think about it though, man, is this, you know, we have to have some type of sensitivity towards the other person. It's just not all about us
No.
and everything. I feel like too, we also need to come to a realization on how to treat the person that we're with though
Yeah.
too, and have that balance,
Mhm.
because it's not all
Mhm.
about us.
No,
It's
it's
also about
not.
the other person.
Yeah.
And you actually have to have that sensitivity where it balances it out. Otherwise, it's all about me, 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 and it's never
Right.
about the other person. So, of course, we have to care on that deeper level. If we don't care on
Yeah.
that deeper level, then it's going to be a
It's
very, what's the
awkward.
word? Very awkward, but also too very bland. It's going to be a
Mhm.
one-sided match every single
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being in which nobody in their right mind would want to be in a relationship where they're the one. It's all about me, 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 me. I mean, what are you, the most interesting human being on God's green earth? You know, it's like,
Right,
I mean, it's like you just take Facebook selfies. So what? You know, I
right,
mean, it's like, but yeah, I agree 100%. It cannot be. It's got to be. It's got to be a good working relationship for sure. You know what I mean? And the other's got to shake the other one's hand.
right, exactly. What else do you want to cover though too? That's another thing.
Well, another thing is like, and I'm speaking for people that are not creative. That's like new to being with somebody who is. Um, when somebody who is creative and they say, I need my space. I need a little space. That means that we need time to get our thoughts in check. We just need about, an hour of, I guess you would say, me time, you know, um, and there needs to be a boundary to where, boundaries set of because with creative people, we got to have that alone time to be within our own brain, you know, of coming up with ideas and being our, whether it's just sitting in your own vehicle, sitting there writing out a song, or a movie, or,
Right.
but if you come up to whoever you're in a relationship with, who is the non creative type and says, I need some me time. We're not being mean. It's like, we got all these thoughts in our head. I just need to get it out, I can't say it. I just gotta type, or
Right.
write or paint. I gotta get this out of my head, because if I
Exa-
don't, I'll probably forget it. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
what? That's another thing. There needs to be like a little boundary, but understand that we're not being a jackass. We're saying that we just need to get that creative impulse out of our brain.
Right. Exactly. Because once we get it out of there, that's it. It's right there on the pages. It's right there for our notes or whatever that we're going to be doing, or our song lyrics, or whatever you're doing, blogging, poetry, anything.
Mhm.
Once we get it out there, it's out there, and then we can actually
Yeah,
pay attention to what we have to pay attention to. It's like having
yeah,
some different personalities inside your head wanting to get out, you know?
yeah.
So, there's a lot of conflict when it comes down
Mhm.
to our personalities and stuff like that. But I promise you this, that dating someone that's a creative with a creative personality is it's a great experience, and it's also a
Yeah.
fun experience. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean fun experience as in a sarcastic experience
Right.
because,
Yeah.
but it's a fun experience because of the fact that you get to see somebody's creative side work within them
Yeah.
and let
Yeah.
that shine through them to
Mm-hmm.
where you can actually understand them on a deeper level than
Yeah.
anybody else. Because here's the thing, by podcasting and stuff like that, Brandy's seen my creative side. She's seen
Right.
other aspects of myself and things
Mm-hmm.
like that too, outside of that. And you know, that's what the two they actually the person that you're with sees everything that the outside doesn't see.
Yeah.
And
They.
the behind the
Yeah.
scenes stuff. And
Yeah,
you
that's why
know,
when you see interviews with the other person that's the you know non-creative one, they're like, "So what's it like living with him?" And they're like, "Oh my god, you have no clue." You know,
right, exactly. It's like, you know, a bobblehead? Just that's what it kind of looks like, you know. But yeah, hey, oh, Jenny's here too. Hey, Jenny.
oh, hey, hey, Jenny, and but yeah, so it's just a it's like you said, John. You got to be patient. You just and you got to be you've got to understand when you're with somebody who's creative that you're not dealing with a 9 to 5 guy or girl or that wakes up at 8 in the morning and gets home at 5 and that type of
Right.
thing. You're on the road and you're off on the road way for a good long minute sometimes, or you may be gone for 24 hours and then wait a week and then come back for another 24, gone for another 24. So
Exactly.
the basis of it, you've got to have trust. You can't be you've got to have trust within each other.
Without trust, you don't
Because
have anything.
right. And you've got to have communication. That's the other thing. Um
Another
a,
thing, another thing though too is like if you're gonna watch somebody kiss somebody else on screen and everything and stuff like
yeah.
that too, you also have to come to the understanding too that it's actually make believe. It's not something
Yeah.
that is real or
Mhm.
anything like that. There are others people around the set that are going to be there to make sure it doesn't go that extra mile. but
Yeah.
but you know, you have to, if you're a jealous type, if you're that type where you're not gonna like it or whatever, chances is dating an actor or an actress is not gonna be for you.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
I would actually say look elsewhere for a relationship.
Yeah, it's not going to be your cup of tea because, I mean,
Let's see. Let's see here. Brandy says also creative people have big hearts. That's very
yeah,
true.
that's very true. Hmm. Yeah. That's why, like, a lot of creative people, not only is it the scheduling crazy for the job of acting or doing music and things like that, but there's charity events that are near and dear to you, right? I mean, because anybody who's a creative person, they've got some kind of personal touch that deals with that charity.
Right.
Whether like their mom may have had breast cancer, so they're big on like supporting, helping raise funds and doing stuff for breast cancer, or people it's like me, it's got diabetes. I mean,
Exactly.
just
Let's see here. Jenny said this. She said, you guys need constant stimuli and go when you get an idea.
what?
She said that it says right here.
Oh yeah. Did she do a typo?
I think so. You
Okay.
guys need constant. Yeah, well,
Stimulus? Like if it's a stimulus check, I'll take it. But
me
you
too.
know,
Hey, I could go for another one.
right?
I'm
You
like,
know,
you know what though? I'm gonna be like Pippin and Pippin from Lord of the Rings.
right,
Instead of like, since we're on a third stimulus, I'll go for a fourth
right.
stimulus,
Yeah.
please. But yeah, we definitely do need to go elsewhere when we have a good idea, somewhere quiet and safe and
Hmm.
secure, to where we can
Yeah.
actually concentrate, not where there's a lot of noise. Because if there's a lot of noise, you might as well just forget it, because we'll end up snapping at the snap. You know?
It's like, look, I'm writing. I got all these great ideas about these fictional characters. Be quiet, you know. And it's like, but yeah. So
Okay,
it's
stimulated. That's what she was trying to
okay.
say.
Oh, okay, stimulus. All right.
Well, so much for fourth stimulus check
You're
that we
right,
wanted,
man.
right? Oh
Dang.
well.
Boy, that was an awkward moment. Both of us going, what? You
Right?
know?
But still, it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
So, what else is there that we should cover?
Um, well, you know, if like somebody who uh yeah, I never and this is going for people who are in a relationship with somebody who is creative. I'm talking, to them, right?
Right.
And if you have questions, or because like if you need to know, ask. Because we're like Pandora's box, honestly, creative people. All you got to do is ask, like, what is your tick? What is that one word I need to avoid with you? What is the thing that you're most sensitive about? Or what is it that you know, that you don't want me to do? Or what's the one thing that you would love for me to do? You've got to know these little jigsaw pieces of the puzzle. And then once you kind of got it figured out, which most people do if they want to stick with a creative person, God bless you. But if you do, then then you can take these little puzzles pieces and then you get the picture, you know. And John, I cannot hear you. Ah,
There we go. There we go.
all right.
So this is another thing though too that I want to mention is this. I and this is just me. I'm always like the type of person where if you want to find out something about me, come to the source. I'm the source. Go on ahead.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know what makes me tick, go on ahead. Ask me what makes me tick. Don't ask Joe Blow down the street what makes me tick, because he's not gonna know. Only I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
So that's a little pet peeve of mine. Is like, you know
Yeah.
what? You want to find out stuff about me? Don't be going to Joe Blow down the street, who might work for the National Enquirer, to make some stuff up. Come to me. I'm the person that you need to go to, because if you want to know what triggers me, or want to know how to actually talk to me, talk to me. Without communication, you don't have anything either.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that we
Yeah.
also touched on though too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We also, this is what Jenny said. She said we need that too. We need stimulus checks. Then she also said, tell us what you need from a partner. And then different triggers that would actually trigger the person and stuff like that too. Pet peeves, things like that. You need to actually be open and honest with your partner about your ticks as well, not just us as creative people. Because
Right.
here's the thing: we can actually say things that might actually be out of in your wheelhouse of things that we shouldn't be saying, because it will piss you off.
Yeah.
You need to go on ahead and tell us, hey, look, don't say that. That's going to piss me off. We won't do that.
Yeah. That's
So
right. Yeah. I mean, it's you both have to talk with each other and you both have just got to be honest. And I think that if each person, but if he had to trigger it, like a commonality trigger of a creative person of what not to say, don't come up to a creative person and say, you know what, I wouldn't wipe my butt with this, you know what I mean, and hold up a piece of work that they just typed out. And it's like, what do you mean? Two things are going to happen. The creative person is going to, what do you mean? What I worked so hard on that? Or you better get ready for World War III because, it's going to explode. So, but you could also, but what you need to do is take that piece of paper and say, well, I read this, and I'm pulling a Jenny because Jenny is phenomenal at this. She's like, Jenny would like bring and say, I've read this, Creighton. Now, this is just a suggestion, but this is just a suggestion now. You see right here where it said you chop that guy's head off? I think it would be better if it maybe not so much graphic. That's all I'm saying. And it's like, oh, okay. So, but if she would have come up to me and was like, I wouldn't wipe my butt with this, I'd be like,
or just tell with no explanation as to why something sucks.
Right.
Because here's the thing. We
want
like to have right. And like Brandy's told me before, though, too, that I'm the type of person that likes to talk. I'm the type of person that is very, let's see, I'm trying to think of the right word here. Expressive. Someone that, is very opinionated. There we go. Yeah. To the point where I'm like, you know what? Why didn't you like it? What made you not like it? Tell me what I need to do so I can do my job properly, so I can actually do it right and everything,
that is a true creative thing as well. For those who are going to be involved in a relationship, that's a commonality of a creative trait.
Let's see here. And then Jenny says too, she goes, I know what makes me tick is food. Then she goes, respect is a must. Yes, respect. And laughing my butt off. Okay.
No. Yeah.
I think she was just laughing at something that we said. So
yeah, she probably saw that me doing the imitation.
Right.
She was like, ha, it wasn't. It was a lot more dramatic, So
you did. Let's see. But yeah, inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much covers just about everything. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
Hold on 1 second, Creighton. I don't mean to stop you or anything like that. No. Hold on 1 second. Jenny said this. Oh man, I love everything y'all do. I do not. I'm not here as a critic. I'm not near as creative. Okay, I've got a good helping of creativity. He. My thing is, help me stray out of the way. Okay.
See, and that's something else with creative people, self-esteem. Or when I mean self-esteem, I mean self-esteem into their creativity. Like to me, because I know Jenny and I've known Jenny for so long, good God, she's like a genius. She's like a walking Einstein. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I don't like, I know how to get a light and put it on, to where it looks like this, But Jenny could come in and it's like she would know what the Kelvin of it is and what she would be having this digital thermometers of light readers and all this Ghostbuster crap. And I would be like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm trying to make it look better. And she would be making me look orange on this side and blue on the other. I mean, I don't know how, but that is just something she's able to creatively do, right? And
Right.
there's a lot of people out there, they're so gifted and creative, and
Mm.
they just, when they tap into it, it's going to explode.
Exactly. And then here's another thing that this is something that Matthew Saxon asked. Should you let the person know about your creative side right away or let them find out gradually? So for me, I would do this. If you're on a first date, you're getting to know each other, right? So what I always like to do, some people like to do this dinner and a movie. Do it ass backwards. Do movie and dinner because then it gives you a chance to converse with each other and have something to talk about. So therefore, you have a little bit of interest to talk to that person. So then you can talk about your hobbies, your likes, your dislikes, your ticks, what doesn't tick, and say, hey, look, by the way, I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a painter, or whatever art that you're doing. Let them know. Let it be known that you do certain things, so that way they know what time that they need to put in with you, and what times that that they're there for your emotional support, and also to be there for you, and so that way you guys can actually spend time together as well. Because therefore you can actually balance things out that way. Because it's like, oh, okay, you're a creator. That's actually pretty cool, Tell me more about it. Then the more you tell them about it, it's like, okay. And then the question at the table is this: how much time are you going to put into me and everything too? Because that's going to be another common sense answer, that the question that someone's going to ask. And you just have to say, look, I'll still have time for you. I'll still make time for you. And I'll promise you that I'll balance things out to the point where it doesn't cause us to lose interest in each other, because that's like the last thing I need. But Jenny's right, though. Communication is the key. If you're a creative person, do not hide that you're a creative person. Let that light shine through you, because your creative side is what the person might be attracted to.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. God, keep preaching, John. Keep doing it. Hallelujah. Amen. Man, that was great.
I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, if you're going to end up at a table and you don't want it to be awkward, do a movie. Do something to where you guys are both talking afterwards and everything. Get a coffee. It doesn't have to be dinner or anything like that, but it gives you a chance to converse with each other. It gives you something in common. Also to express your creative side, because your creative side is your best side to go with, and say, hey, look, by the way, I'm actually a screenwriter, and I do this on the side. I do have a 9-to-5 job. I do have a regular job, but I also do this off on the side though too. But I promise you that I'm not going to take not going to take any time away from us or anything like that. I will find balance and everything. If you're worried about me not being able to spend time with you, because that's also another key factor, is spending time with that person. And you can actually become very fearful of that, though. It's like, does this person who has a creative personality have enough time for me? And that's a very common. Here's the thing: when someone asks you that, don't be too sensitive to the point where you're going to shut that person off, or they think that they're coming out rude. Because put yourself in the perspective of the person that isn't creative, who is just a regular average person. They want to know if they're going to have time for you, for them. And that's understandable, because we all want time with our partner. We all want time with that certain someone. So, of course, that's going to wind up being something that they want to talk about. And they want to know. This is just what Jenny said, though, too. So that is who you are. If they are going to love you, they have to love all of you. Exactly. Exactly.
And it goes the other way as well. You, as a creative person, have to have the same love and feeling, because, well, we are sensitive humans, you know what I mean? But that's why most creative people, we have guardians. we have people that watch us. That's like, like me personally, I have Jenny and Matthew. That's like, they overlook and make sure that because they know I'm so open hearted and I'm so sensitive that I can be gullible. And I really can. I'll be the first to admit it.
I'll own up to that fact though too. I can be gullible. You
Yeah.
tell me
And
that you just got back from Mars, I'll probably wind up coming close
yeah,
to believing it.
I'll
Well,
be
maybe
like,
not that far fetched, but still.
right, right. And, they, like not only these two that I just mentioned, but there's others, family members and things like that that keep a close eye, or not close eye, but they watch over me because they know how my creative brain works. And that's why, like, somebody who's getting involved with somebody who is creative and they're like, Christ, why is it like meeting two families? Honestly.
Right.
And that's kind of why. I hope that
Let's
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah, that did. That, to be honest with you, that actually does make sense. Jenny also said this. She said, "Have y'all seen the love language test? Look it up. Everyone has a love language. For some, it's physical touch. For some, it's affection, and other people's is other things. Look it up. Love language. Okay, I'll give that a shot. As a matter of fact, I'll do that after the show and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Huh. Wow. I didn't realize that.
I didn't know that there was a such thing as a love language test or anything like that. So I might actually have to look into that.
Yeah. I mean, the only way I know about love language is just from what I've learned from Jenny. It's like, does she lean in when she talks to you like that? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, she likes you. Oh, why didn't you say that before?
Right, because body language tells
Yeah.
everything, But you're
Jenny
the
gives
writer.
me
You're
good
supposed to
advice.
know if.
Oh, but see, that's the other part of being creative. It's like we can
Right,
write it out all dang day. We can write out the best love
right,
sappy notebook, sad, wonderful thing. But you get us in real life, we're kind of like, hey, what? What happened?
exactly,
You know?
exactly, man. Like I remember posting this one thing on my personal Instagram account. Right, it's an anime character where her leg is actually up on the wall, and there's this guy who's actually kind of awkward and lanky, and the girl is like really into him, and then there's a thing. So I'm not sure if she's into me, but she has her leg up all the way up on the wall, being really flirty, and the guy's like, "I'm not sure if she's into me,"
Right.
and that's actually the caption. I'm like, "Yep, I can relate." Just,
Yeah.
but let's see here. Creative minds are one tact, and once we are in our zone, we lose track of time. Yep, that's true.
That's true.
Jenny says it's eye-opening. Love language is really cool. Okay,
Awesome.
so to our listeners and everything, check out love language.
Yeah.
So Google that and check it out. Let us know what you think about love language.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we want to cover, or if anybody that is watching right now, go on ahead and comment in the live chat and everything. We'll take y'all's questions because here's the thing. I love taking questions that you guys send in and everything. It gives us a chance to interact with you and things like that. So go on ahead. If you have any questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we'll go on and take them.
Right. That'd be great. I mean,
it would.
But yeah, it's definitely, if you're ever in a relationship, you just got to communicate with each other. Right. I think that's really what it is. Like me personally, what aggravates me personally.
Hey, Justine.
Well, is who was that?
Oh, Justine.
Oh,
okay.
And it's like the communicate. I'm doing a late wave because I was like right in the middle of a.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
But is the ghosting aspect of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like I know when you're in your 20s and things like that, that's part of the dating game. But when you get in your 30s and 40s, uh, and you have a creative mind, and that's just horrible to do that. It's like coming up to somebody that's got ADD, ADHD, and babbles and putting a muzzle on them. It's horrible. You know what I mean? To somebody like that, to just kind of ghost them.
Exactly, for no apparent reason. I've done
Right.
that. I actually had that happen. Ghosting. This is what Justine said though too. She said ghosting is gaslighting and it's not cool. No, gaslighting
Right.
is definitely not cool at all. I've been through gaslighting before. It's bad.
Right.
It's really bad.
Wait, explain gaslighting for.
Gaslighting is basically, if you think about it, it's actually a form of actually mental abuse of causing
Ooh,
anxiety
yeah,
inside of you and making you think something whenever it's not really actually there.
there,
And
yeah,
that person can get in your head.
like
I've been through that before.
almost like a reverse psychology kind of
Yep,
thing. You
that
know
kind
what
of
I
thing.
mean? Yeah.
They implant ideas in your head that are not there,
Ooh,
basically.
yeah,
And yeah, I've been there before with my own
yeah,
anxieties and fears and everything. So
yeah.
yeah, I've been there.
Hmm.
Justine also says, me too, especially whenever there's no communication between me and the other party at all. The best way to order in order to be able to pick that up is their body language and see if they look at you whenever they talk. That's true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
that's very true. That's
Eye
very, very
contact is a
true.
big thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah,
right,
and and a little, some people, because they just don't know how to do eye contact, or for some reason, some people are timid, so really, or they just don't know how to look you in the eye. um a little piece of advice is, if you want to look them in their eye but you don't, look right above, like right in between their eyes, at their forehead, kind
right.
of here. You know what I mean? That, I'm not saying to do that intentionally, but if you just kind of like are a nervous individual, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just a little tip that would help.
Exactly. And as someone that went into but ghosting and stuff like that too, I've actually been there
Yeah.
where for a while somebody would act like they're into you and then all of a sudden they wind up just all of a sudden stop texting you. I've been there. I'm like, okay, they have my number. I get to the point where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. But for Brandy's question, what makes me
Ooh, I
tick?
like this. Oh, yes. The tables
So
reverse psychology has turned on Dr. Oz.
you're
Thank you,
not you're not
Brandy.
you're not helping Crichton.
Oh, my bad.
Just
My
like
bad.
just so you know. But okay, so a couple of my pet peeves is this, and it's just little small things. It's not anything major, but they can be something. It's like I mentioned before, where all of a sudden everything is fine, and then an hour or two, it's like it comes out of nowhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it hits me, and I'm like, okay, where the hell did that come from? And everything, because I don't know what to do with that. Because of the fact that
Yeah.
it blindsides you. Really, it blindsides you to the point
Yeah.
where it's awkward. You're standoffish. You're also defensive. You feel
Hmm.
like you're being targeted, and everything. You're not being approached the right way. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Um, that's me personally. And then there's also some
Right.
other stuff
But,
too that I have to. There's like maybe one, maybe or two
yeah.
more things. Like for instance, assuming something and putting into my head that there's something. Gaslighting is one of the main
Gaslighting.
things.
Yeah. Like Justine was
Gas
saying. Yeah.
gaslighting is one of the main things that I'm really am the because I've been gaslighted before,
Yeah.
and it puts ideas in my head, and I think to the extreme when it comes down to that
Hmm.
and things like
Right.
that. And here's the thing: and maybe I'm with the person I'm with or whatever doesn't know that what I'm saying. Maybe that person doesn't wind up putting the ideas in my head or anything with the get
Right.
or anything like that. It's just that my anxiety with the next
Yeah.
person is that much higher, is amplified to the
Hmm.
point where like, okay, am I smothering this person? Is this person
Yeah.
do I need to go ahead and give that person some space so that way they can get things together and things like that? Am I smothering that person? The anxieties and everything else whenever it comes down to gaslighting is just unreal. It really is. It's mental abuse and everything. And that's just some of the small things that, for me and everything. But there's more. I'm sure there's more. But those are just a few things that kind of stand up for me for right now.
Yeah, right. Well, wow, man. Yeah, that, like what you were saying about the first thing, that's it's kind of like saying we're going to throw a surprise birthday party for somebody who has a bad ticker. Yeah. It was like, why are you going to do that to somebody who might have a heart attack? Surprise! I'm having a bigger surprise. I'm having a heart attack, you know? Like, why would you do that? And like the other thing about what you were just saying, you know, my gosh, that's like, I don't think Rob Zombie would be that mean. You know,
No.
I don't really think. I think Rob Zombie would not be that mean. You know, he's a vegan, for God's sakes. You know,
exactly.
I mean,
let's see here. This is what Jenny says. Say that right. Then when it happens, then Brandy said this. She goes, "I had to pick with you a little bit for real, John. You have a beautiful mind. I just have to say it. Thank you so much for that and everything." I feel a little bit better now that I'm off a trial. But,
right. Yeah.
But you know, I'm just picking around. Let's see here. This is also what Jenny asked. She goes, if you're asking yourself those questions in your head, you should verbalize the questions immediately so that the other person knows what you're thinking. And here's the thing. I've actually come better at that, to be honest with you.
Good. That's great.
Because here's the thing. I'd be like, look, it's not, I don't say it's not me, it's not you, it's me kind of thing. I don't say that. I'm like, look, there's just something that I need to get off my chest. Is there anything wrong? Is there anything going on with us? Is everything cool with us? Are you mad at me? I'm trying to calm the anxieties in my head, basically.
Yeah.
I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not going for verbatim or anything like that.
Right.
How I actually say things, but that's actually the thought process that I have coming out whenever I'm trying to verbalize it. Even though it may not come out right, that's actually how I'm actually verbalizing it. So the way I can settle my mind down and to where I can actually communicate with that person and ask them that question. So that way it keeps my demons at bay.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I'm with you on that because every creative person who watches this are going to be like, John is preaching again. He just said everything that that's what we try to say, but it don't come out right. You know, it's like, and
it takes a while. I mean,
yeah, it does. And that's why, like, you know, it could be something very complicated that we have in our mind, but then we're going to just look, and the only thing we can blurt out is like, are you feeling okay? You know, but there's like 10 different things that's running in our brain, but we you know, so patience, like John said, patience with us.
Exactly. Let's see here. And then Jenny says it takes practice like everything else. Social interactions take practice to understand each other. Yep, that's true. And the more that you're with that person, the more you communicate with that person, the more that person understands you. And the more acceptance that person will actually have on you.
Right.
And everything too, because now they know your ins and outs. You don't have to worry about sitting at the dinner table, wondering if that person's mad at you or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that. All your insecurities pretty much can get checked out and everything to the point where you're fine and you can have a stable relationship and everything because things have calmed down a lot inside your head.
Right. So I agree 100%.
Because here's the thing: when you're first getting to know somebody, your anxieties are going to be up because you don't know what to expect from that other person or anything like that. So the more you take time to develop everything, the more time that you actually spend with each other, you're going to understand from an emotional level. You're going to understand from a different perspective, from both sides of the perspectives. You know, this is what Brandy said, though, too. She says, that's definitely my brain, 10 different things going on at once. Yeah, I understand. And that's also the same way with me. It's just that I have to choose which one I want to take first and then go after that one.
Yeah. And Brandy, you're not alone, I promise.
The the five love languages. Google it.
Yeah.
We will.
We will, Jenny, we will.
You know what? We need to go in here and just get a sponsorship for the five love languages.
Yeah. I know, right?
You know what? Jenny can be my spokesperson for it.
Right.
But
I'll let you
just
Google it because I'll probably click on the wrong thing and I'll be like, Jenny, why am I looking at midget porn? You know.
Okay, you officially broke me.
Right, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
This is the creative mind. So
or back in high school, there used to be this thing called whitehouse.org. You do not want to go to whitehouse.org during that time in the 90s if you were a teenager.
No.
Otherwise, you're going to know what whitehouse.org is, especially whenever there's a naked woman with a White House in between her. Yeah. So, yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, it was not about Abraham Lincoln because I found that out the hard way. So, anyways, guys, that's probably gonna be it for our show on after we get done talking about midget porn on whitehouse.org. So
and ended on Honest Abe.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. So what better way to end the show on porn? So anyways, guys, if you guys like what you see, go on ahead, like and subscribe and everything to this show. We also have audio only podcast episodes for all your likes and needs and stuff like that. If you can't watch us or anything like that, go on ahead, subscribe over there, and we'll be more than glad to go on ahead. And also, too, I want you guys to do this too. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. It actually helps us with our ratings. Ooh. And another thing to do. So if you did subscribe to our channel, there's a little bell for a notification down on the right-hand side. That is a little notification thing to where basically when we go live, you get a notification saying, hey, look, Movie Lovers Unite is going live. So therefore, you can join us anytime. So go ahead, click that little notification bar on the right-hand side, and that lets you know that we're about to do a live show. Or you can go on ahead and follow us on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite. And we actually do our scheduling over there, though, too, where you can actually get that. And then, of course, you can follow me on Instagram as well underneath the same name at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite, and also on Pinterest as well. Of course, you can also go on ahead, donate to the page. How do you guys do that? I'm glad that you guys asked. You're just going ahead, head over to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And then, of course, you can also head over to our other webpage called MovieLoversUnite.com for all your entertainment needs and wants. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit, at John J. Gorio8. Another thing, too, guys, is this. You can also email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And you can ask me any kind of questions. If you're a sponsor, go on ahead, send in some sponsorships and do it that way. And Friend's over here doing gang signs because he knows that I talk with my hands because I'm Italian. So I'm going to go on ahead and ask Creighton this. Where can everybody reach you at, sir?
It's easy. Go to Facebook.
Thank God you didn't say midget.
Right, yeah, mine's short and simple like me. Short and simple. Like the little Irishman off of the Lucky Charms cereal box. Short, you know. But just go to Facebook and type in How Many Chances or type in Creighton Films and you'll find me.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for the show for tonight. I'm going to be back tomorrow night for something. I don't have anything really scheduled for tomorrow night, but I might actually, with my creative mind, I might actually find something to talk about. Mm-hmm. Friday, don't forget, Friday, Falcon the Winter Soldier after show at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time for that. This is the season finale. We're going to be wrapping that up. Of course, you can also find the new episode that Charlie hosted on yesterday. You can find that. And, of course, I came in like maybe about an hour and 30 minutes in if you want to catch that part. You know, just go on ahead, check us out over there. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. And always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.